Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. We'll start with the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives more cables of greetings on the occasion of the auspicious return of His Majesty to the homeland. The Sultanate's governorates and wilayas continue celebrations on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Excellency the Minister of Legal Affairs heads to Kuwait to attend the International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria. And 2 agreements are signed to implement sewage projects in the Governorate of Muscat worth about 50 million Omani Riyals. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in details. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received cables of greetings on the occasion of the auspicious return of His Majesty to the homeland. The cables were sent from His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, His Excellency President Umar Hassan Al Bashir of Sudan, His Excellency President Ismail Umar Jilla of Djibouti, and from His Excellency Akila Saleh Isa, Chairman of the Libyan Parliament. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos received more cables of greetings on the auspicious return of His Majesty to the homeland. His Majesty received cables from His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani, Deputy Emir of Qatar, and His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasser bin Khalifa Al Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Interior in Qatar. The Sultanate's celebrations continued on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. In the wilaya of Al-Qabil, in the Governorate of North Sharqiya, the citizens organized a national procession rejoicing the return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to the country. They expressed their sincere greetings and prayed to Almighty Allah to protect His Majesty as the guardian of this country and its people. The citizens of the wilaya of Bidbid celebrated His Majesty's return. They went in a huge procession amid happiness and meanings of loyalty and gratitude. The procession was also accompanied by Omani traditional arts and national poems. In the wilaya of Mahut in the Governorate of Wusta, the citizens went in processions expressing happiness and joy for the safe return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, renewing allegiance and gratitude. Citizens in the wilayas of Bremi and Mhada also organized a procession of joy and loyalty expressing their happiness of His Majesty's return safely. It witnessed Omani traditional arts and national poems. A number of cultural activities were held in the wilaya of Khasab in the Governorate of Musandam, rejoicing the return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to the country. The event witnessed a huge participation from members of the society, especially women and children, cheering sincere greetings and best wishes to His Majesty, the beloved leader. It included Omani national songs and poems, various competitions, as well as children shows in addition to traditional arts. The children of the wilaya expressed joy and happiness with the Sultanate's flag hoisting and praying to Almighty to protect His Majesty and endow him with good health. The citizens of the wilaya of Khabura joined the nation's celebrations on the safe return of His Majesty the Sultan. Here's a report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai.
Citizens in the wilaya of Al-Khabura in the Governorate of North Al-Batina organized a loyalty and gratitude procession of the occasion of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, the father of the nation, return home safe. His arrival is a blessing to all Omanis and expatriate alike, all of whom have expressed their sincere greetings and prayed to the Almighty Allah to protect His Majesty as the guardian of this country and its people. The event started at the ground of the healthcare institutions of the wilaya, where a huge number of people marched through the Al Ghazain Road all the way to the Wali office ground.
Really, it's a great moment that to see all those people are gathering today to celebrate and to give the deep feeling of these people in this country toward His Majesty and his good health returning back from Germany, that we are very glad to be always looking forward to see His Majesty in a very fine and a very good health to lead this country.
In the love of the leader, a number of portraits of Omani arts famous in the wilaya and governorate in general reflected feelings of love for the country and the leader, as well as the joy that was felt by citizens the time His Majesty returned to the homeland safe and sound.
The Wilayat of Khabur is very pleased today to celebrate the return of His Majesty back home. And the people of Oman are very, very happy to see him back, because we missed him for about 8 months. And that 8 months was very, very difficult time for the Sultanate of Oman. And we are very, very pleased to see him back and to see His Majesty well as well. That gives us a great pleasure, actually, to see him and to, see him back and to welcome him back home.
Apart from the general citizens who represented all walks of life, there was a large number of students from various schools, all of whom expressed their overwhelming joy on the occasion.
We're very grateful for His Majesty development that was achieved through his wise leadership, and we're very happy that he's back.
Members of the Majlis al-Dawla, Majlis al-Shura and local officials in all wilayats expressed their sincere feelings and overwhelming happiness on the safe return of His Majesty to the dear homeland. The celebrations brought together young and old as the atmosphere brought an aroma of love, loyalty and respect for His Majesty. Together with the countrymen from the Wilayat of Al-Khabura in this beautiful procession here, expressing joy, gratitude and loyalty for His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i for the Sultanate of Oman Television.
All segments of the society expressed their loyalty and allegiance to their leader, His Majesty the Sultan, who renewed the glory of Oman and built its modern renaissance. On the blessed occasion of His Majesty's return, a number of patients in Al-Nahda Hospital in Muscat expressed their sincere greetings and prayed to Almighty Allah to continue bestowing on His Majesty health, happiness and a long life, and protect Oman to remain an oasis of peace and security. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Muhammad Al-Saidi, Minister of Legal Affairs and Chairman of Oman Charitable Organization, left today to the state of Kuwait to attend the 3rd International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria, due to be hosted by Kuwait tomorrow. The Oman Wastewater Services Company Haya Water signed 2 agreements to implement 2 wastewater projects in the Governorate of Muscat. The first agreement is meant to establish wastewater treatment plant in the Wilaya of Al-Amirat at a cost of more than 25.22 million Omani Riyals. The second agreement is to link houses in Al-Khuwair area with sewage networks and to establish a treated wastewater distribution and transfer network along with optical fiber cables with a cost of more than 24.7 million Omani Riyals. The 2 agreements were signed by His Excellency Engineer Mohsen bin Mohammed Al-Sheikh, Chairman of Muscat Municipality and Head of the Board of Directors of Haya Water. Petroleum Development Oman, PDO, celebrated the graduation of another batch of vocational trainees as further 362 young Omanis successfully completed their training to take up roles in the oil and gas industry. The event was marked with a graduation ceremony under the auspices of Dr. Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Rumhi, Minister of Oil and Gas. At the same event and the latest in a series of education and employment initiatives with the Omani government, PDO signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Manpower. The MOU was signed by Hamad bin Khamis Al-Amri, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Manpower for Labour Affairs, and PDO's Managing Director Raoul Rastucci. The MOU sets out that both parties will encourage cooperation in areas of training and humanization in the oil and gas sector and other industries. This will be achieved through training the provisions of job opportunities for Omani cadres. The 362 Omanis graduating at today's event have undergone an 18-month training program at specialist institutes in the Sultanate. The majority of the graduates have achieved Level 2 of the National Vocational Qualification and the Construction Industry Training Board program. His Excellency Engineer Salim bin Nasser Al-Aufi, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Oil and Gas, stressed that the oil sector has not seen yet any layoffs of national manpower due to lower oil prices. The 12th International Exhibition for Construction and Internal Designing was opened in Oman International Exhibition Center with the participation of 300 institutions representing 15 countries. The exhibition showcases various building construction requirements, starting from planning and scheme stages, infrastructure and decor requirements. The opening was patronized by His Excellency Dr. Rashid bin Asaf al-Haraibi, Chairman of the Tender Board. Boosting joint cooperation aspects between the Sultanate and China in the field of media was the main topic of discussion of His Excellency Dr. Abdul Mun'im bin Mansour al-Hsani, Minister of Information, when he received His Excellency Hu Chanfang, head of Chinese Central Television, and his delegation, who is currently visiting the Sultanate. During the meeting, they exchanged expertise between the two countries and reviewed new horizons of cooperation related to the training and media personnel visit exchange, in addition to programs related to other media fields. Discussing new developments in Basel III agreement and studying systemic risks and approved policies in the Central Bank of Oman, top topics of the regional seminar on organizing and supervising the important systemic banks, which was held in Muscat. A number of bank inspectors from all central banks in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries participated in this seminar. The four-day seminar aimed to enhance the workers' abilities in the regulatory institutions, as well as enhancing supervision and control systems in the GCC countries. His Excellency Hamoud bin Senghor Zajali, Executive President of the Central Bank of Oman, stated that loan and deposit growth in the banking sector in the Sultanate during the last 2 months is positive and reassuring indicator. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry, in collaboration with the World Intellectual Property Organization, organized the 3rd regional meeting for heads of copyright offices in the Arab countries. The opening of the 2-day meeting was presided over by His Excellency Mohsen bin Khamis al-Blushi, advisor of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The meeting discussed a number of related issues, such as the WIPO action plan in the field of copyrights, the latest developments related to the international legal system for the protection of copyrights, the effect of modern technologies on copyrights. Approving the identity of establishing the university was the main discussion of the meeting of Sultan Qaboos University Council for the academic year 2014-2015. The council also approved the proposal of restructuring the Scientific Research Council in the university and risks management policy in the university. It also discussed the educational qualification diploma proposal, which was approved to start in the academic year 2015-2016. The meeting was headed by Her Excellency Dr. Rawiya bin Saud al-Busaidiyya, Minister of Higher Education and Chairperson of Sultan Qaboos University Council. Staff Command of Sultan's Armed Forces organized a seminar about managing weapons accidents and chemicals in cooperation with the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and with the participation of Sultan's Armed Forces, military and security bodies, in addition to some government institutions. The seminar, which was held in a Shafaq club affiliated to Sultan's Armed Forces, discussed issues concerned with weapons of mass destruction and efforts made globally to increase awareness about their risks, as well as to reduce the spread of these weapons, besides future challenges that threaten national security and international stability. The seminar was presided over by Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces. Ministry of Endowment and Religious Affairs announced that it will organize the Jurisprudence Science Development Symposium from the 5th to the 8th of April. The seminar, in its 14th edition, will discuss 7 topics on fiqh science. A number of endowments ministers and muftis from Arab and Islamic countries will take part. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives more cables of greetings on the occasion of the auspicious return of His Majesty to the homeland. The Sultanate's governorates and wilayas continue celebrations on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Excellency the Minister of Legal Affairs heads to Kuwait to attend the International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria. And 2 agreements are assigned to implement sewage projects in the Governorate of Muscat worth about 50 million Omani Riyals. With that, we come to an end to tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, good night.